Hello, everybody. Reggie Time here, and in just a moment, we're going to be chatting with Owen about his previous week in poker. He's sent me some hands to review. I haven't looked at them at all. He's also sent me his week's hands plays, so we have accurate HUD stats, and it looks like it hasn't been the best of weeks for Owen. So we'll chat to him a little bit about that at the start, see what's been going wrong, and yeah, then we'll review some hands, maybe one session, maybe two sessions, and yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to hit the like, hit the comment. No one ever does, but do it anyway, please. Share, subscribe, all of those things. And then, yeah, let's get into chatting with Owen.
Okay, no worries.
So we're here with Owen now. Owen, you sent me your hands. I noticed that it looked like you had a particularly traumatic week at the tables. It didn't look like the best of weeks for you. And you just said
No.
to me before we started recording that you're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
particularly proud of this first hand and that we should skip it. But because it was already on at the start of the video, we'll quickly go through it. And it's not to shame you or anything like that, but I got a feeling it might lead to some quite good discussion. So yeah,
Okay.
it's not been. I don't know what's gone on because I haven't spoken to you about it yet. We've been too
Yeah,
busy
yeah.
discussing fucking Tories being cunts and other such things for
Yeah,
about
yeah.
15 minutes before we started recording. So I haven't even talked about poker with you yet. So tell me what's gone wrong this last week.
To be honest, I think I've had a very difficult week that's got nothing to do with poker. And I've tried to fit sessions in where I probably shouldn't have.
Yep.
Um, just family stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I think I've been playing when my mind's not been on the game, basically. And I think what I've done this week, I've actually put in my timetable because what I've done standard since we've been doing these sessions is normally after the kids have gone to bed, and I'll fire it up a couple of times a week, and but I've got all my jobs done and my mind's on my poker. And I just play it and then as soon as I start feeling tired, laptop away, etc. Which I've tried to do this week, but I've had so much going on outside of poker that I've been tired and I haven't been concentrating. And to be honest with you, when you see this hand, I'm just not thinking about the hand basically.
Right. Okay.
When you what that so what I've done this week, I've actually got like a timetable and I've got two sessions in. But they're during the day. I'm self-employed, so I've just got um long periods off and I'm just going to play during the middle of the day. A lot of the stuff, hopefully, that was bothering me outside of poker has gone away now. We've sorted it out over the weekend, and my mind will be on it. But I think, in all honesty, I shouldn't have been playing when I played this hand. It wasn't the last hand I played, but this was the hand that made me put away my laptop.
Okay. Okay. And mate, we've all
Um,
been there. There won't
yeah,
be a single person watching this video who hasn't played poker when they've been tilted by other shit.
yeah,
Like my worst ever month, and it wasn't even a terrible month. My worst ever month, I think I lost like 600 or 700.
mm,
Was the month that my dad passed away. But just a very, very quick, and I don't want to be too morbid, but in September of 2011, I think it was, um, or maybe 2000, no, 2000, 2012, I can't remember. Um,
yeah,
my dad was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer in the September. Um,
yeah,
and then he finally passed away, as a blessing, because he was meant to live longer, but something happened and it just made it work. I don't want to go into it, but basically he died younger than he was
yeah,
supposed to.
with
He was
you.
meant to have another few months, didn't do it, and he died in the November. And from like this, from when him getting his diagnosis through to him dying, my poker results were just pretty rubbish. But
Yeah,
it was like a nice distraction from me just to stop me thinking about it because it was horrible. You know, the minute someone
yeah,
gets a terminal cancer diagnosis, it's there. The grieving starts then. You know, it
yes,
was grim. It was horrible. You know, and yeah. So without, I don't want to like depress people, have them turn it off. But basically, it was a miserable 2 and a bit months, and I shouldn't have played. The
yeah,
month he died on something like somewhere in the middle of November, and I just carried on playing, and I was just dumping my money off. You know, just
yeah,
literally dumping it off. Like spots, I'd raised the three bet. I'd be like, I don't give a fuck, mate. I'm all in, knowing I was fucked. I just didn't care,
mm,
and I lost. Like I said, I lost about 700, and in a way, it
wow,
might have been the best $700 I ever spent in my life, because
yeah,
it for that while I was doing it, it was just helping me deal with the fact, that like just take my mind off the fact that I'd lost my dad, and
Yeah,
that quite often, if things are going a bit wrong in life, like they do sometimes for all of us,
yeah.
your poker's
I
always going to suffer because you're going to start the session and you're already going to be tilted.
no, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, because I think what happened, if I'm being brutally honest with myself, is when I've done all because everyone's got stuff that they need doing, haven't they, in their life,
Of course,
and
yeah,
I think, and then at the end of the day, what I often like to do, I just switch off from that and concentrate on poker and I enjoy it and I can fully focus on the game because I love it. I just what I'm completely immersed in it. I'm watching everything that's going on. I'm trying to take in everything that's going on, and I think in this moment, and I did it twice this week. I think everyone had gone to bed. I wanted to just get on there and just forget about everything and just concentrate on what my poker, which is what normally makes me feel better. But because there was so much going on, I couldn't. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. No,
And
of
and
course
and,
I know what you
and I
mean.
should, and it was a massive mistake. I should have just gone for a walk or something. Do
Yeah,
you
no,
know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
So we'll
yeah,
look at all these hands this week through the prism
yeah,
of Owen was having a tantrum.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
is that we're
hundred
looking
percent.
at it because
This
we've
is,
all
I think,
been
this is
there.
the worst one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and just try to be a little bit light-hearted because I don't know what your problem was, and I'm certainly not going to ask you on a video. But I'm just trying to be a little bit like light-hearted with it. And yeah, you played this
yeah, yeah.
entire week tilted, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So let's see what's happened. So we've opened, three bet, fold. Uh,
That's what I should have done. Yeah, I should have
um,
folded.
I
I
don't
think the
know.
open's okay though, right?
I don't know. I mean, I could get behind a four bet here. I could get behind a call. Yeah, the open's fine. I mean, the open's
Yeah,
completely standard. Um, I don't know, mate. I mean, at this point, I'm thinking I'm certainly continuing in some capacity. I think this hand sometimes, even that it might not be a four bet in GTO land, but fuck that. It's a pretty one. I think we can call or we can four bet this, and I don't really care which we do. Just don't fold.
yeah.
You do go with the call. I mean, maybe it's a pure
Oh,
call in
I know
theory. I
who this
don't
is
know.
against. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
just to like
I,
go
I,
off
d-
on a slight
yeah,
tangent, um, I'm still loving using GTO Wizard for like reviewing hands and things, but I've had quite a big step change in like how I want to think about the game and play the game.
yeah,
I went away to the casino on Saturday night with a friend who's like he's like he's a very intelligent man. He studies. He's like he takes it seriously. And he's like GTO. He said it's just fucking bullshit, mate. It's absolute bullshit. He said basically, in his opinion, the sites who are selling like GTO training try to encourage people to play a GTO style and just fucking snake oil salesman. And he's very firmly of the belief that it's all about the fucking exploits. And I've been like that for so fucking long.
I
Um,
agree with that. Yeah, yeah.
it's all about the exploits. Like he's into like he's studying mass data analysis and things like that. Like
Mm,
finding out spots which are overfolded, spots which are overbluffed, spots which are underbluffed. He said it's far more useful to do that, or just
mm,
use your fucking basically use your instincts, use your fucking bollocks.
yeah,
Like one of the best things
because
I've always done at poker is just been in a good instinctive player. Just like if I think someone's strong, I just make outrageous folds. If I think someone's
yeah,
weak, I'll make ridiculously disrespectful calls. And then like three times
yeah,
this year, I've tried to go down this GTO route. Three
mm,
times my results are flatlined, and it's happening again. I've had 80,000 hands where I've won 20 odd buy-ins, which by my standards is fucking pathetic, to be honest. About
yeah,
three bigs 100 for 80,000 hands. So as I was saying, this might not be a four bet ever. It might never. It might sometimes even fold. I don't know. But what I do know is that in these situations these days, cut off open button three bets. If people are trying to follow charts, part of this three betting range is going to be hands that call a four bet that King Jack suited got good equity against. There's going to be pocket pairs in there beneath the jack. There's going to be
yeah,
um, like some other stuff that like Ace Queen that isn't going to four bet, Ace Ten that's going to call hands that like, King Jack's just doing well enough against that you can four bet. But crucially, the five bet range is going to be so fucking nutted. It doesn't matter that when you five, we just fold. We just get to fold King
yeah.
Jack pure because that there's no five bet bluff range here. There is in theory. There's a five bet bluff range. In practice, at the micro stakes, there isn't one. quite frankly, they're just so you can like routinely just four bet fold pretty liberally from the cutoff, in my opinion, because people are three betting pocket sixes, pocket sevens, pocket eights, pocket, and they're never folding them when they get four bet. They're also three betting some hands like ace 10, ace 9, ace 8, and sometimes they're folding them, sometimes they're not. But King Queen does very sorry, King Jack suited here, in my opinion, does very well
One against the
in
range. Yeah.
equity terms against a range that three bets and
Yeah.
calls. And against a range that three bets and five bets, it's just dead, so we can easily fold it. But when they call, unless they're trapping aces, which is a thing GTO does, but I think it's not a thing humans are as good at. Unless they're just getting very, very tricky and trappy, um, when they call, you've just got reasonable equity, more than reasonable equity. So for me, this is a four bet or a call, and I don't really give a fuck if GTO says it's a mix between three bet and four bet and fold, or between call. I don't give a fuck. I give way less of a fuck now what GTO wants to do, and the way I'm using it is I'm just doing what I think I know to be right or what I feel to be right, and then I'm marking those hands, and then I'm going into the hand reviewer, and if say I make a play that it tells me he's losing two big blinds, which is big, which is significant, like 200 big blinds, 100, so he's losing two big blinds on this play to do this, I'll then look at the range of hands I'm supposed to be up against. And then usually, more often than not, I'll satisfy myself that that range is not a range that exists in the games I play, and I'll just be like, right, okay, in that case, I'll give myself a pass range. So if I make a fold that's effectively costing me two big blinds, but in GTO, villain's bluffing 33% of the time, and in
Hmm.
practice, I know my villains are only fucking bluffing 10% of the time, then I'm just justifying it to myself because I spent too much time making some really shockingly bad hero calls and making some, quite frankly, shockingly bad bluffs. Just because I think, oh, theoretically, I have to have some more bluffs here, so let's just do them. Or theoretically, I have to defend so many hands here, let's just do that. And the results have been mediocre. So at the minute, I'm not anti GTO, but I think it needs to be taken with an incredibly large pinch of salt.
Yeah.
So I don't care what theory says here. I think in practice, you better fine play.
Mhm.
And we get this flop, which is going to be
Gets
pretty
worse,
easy.
mate. Don't worry.
It's going to be
Yeah.
very, very easy now because we check and hope they check. And if we check and they bet, we just say, okay, I'm done. So check, bet, half pot,
Easy fold.
probably just fold, I would imagine, versus half pot. Yeah. I mean, we've
Mhm.
got an over card, which may or may not be any good, and we got backdoor straight, backdoor flush. But yeah, just fold.
He could have king queen, can he? But
He could
if
have,
I get
yeah,
the
king,
overcard, it'll
queen,
be
ace,
worse. Yeah.
queen,
Yeah.
aces. Even if it's just like range betting hands like pocket tens here, we still only have like 25% equity against tens. We only get to realize half of that on the turn. So yeah, we're not in. We're not. I just fold here personally.
Yeah.
Um, okay, ambitious.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Turn a jack. So
That
check. Nice if
kind
he
of gets me in
checks.
more trouble.
So he double barrels half pot again. We are maybe not in the best of shape
Folding.
now. Versus double barrel here.
Fold.
I mean,
Yeah.
it feels
I know
silly
what I.
to call the flop, improve on the turn, and then fold. But his
Yes.
range for double barreling here, like on the flop, for example, if he's range
He
betting
hasn't
pocket
got tens
sevens,
anymore, has he?
no,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, like a lot of his
Yeah.
range bets just slow down on this turn. Like his pocket sevens at range bet just slows down. Um, Random ace X at range bet just slows down. Yeah, pocket tens. Yeah, I think this is. I think maybe he still has like 10-9 of diamonds here or 8-7 of diamonds or something. He maybe has a few hands that improve their equity here, then are emboldened to double barrel. But generally speaking, facing a double barrel line in this spot in a three bet pot, we're not going to be wanting to just call down with second pair very often. Um, but we do.
Okay.
That's a good river.
Yeah. I knew this was going to happen. See.
That you've done a
Right.
good river there. Now, do we
Yeah.
lead or not? That's the question.
Well, that is the question. The only thing I'm losing to now, really, is pocket queens, unless he's three bet me with pocket fours, isn't it? Or queen jack, actually.
Yeah, but
But
there's
I don't think he was three
literally,
bet. I don't think he's
in
ever
fact,
going to
there
have
isn't a
three bet.
combo of Queen Jack. because there's no suited combos and he's not three
No, because
betting
I've got
queen.
the hearts.
You
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
imagine
You
he's
would
three
be.
betting queen jack off. So no, you
No.
lose to pocket queens exactly and pocket fours. But what's he going to do here if he's got um, aces and kings? If you think he's going to value bet again, then we check. If we think he's going to check back aces and kings here and ace queen. So basically, the question is, does population, because we don't know enough about this player, he's only got 90 hands on him, does population triple off here with aces? And I think they do, to be fair. I think they do. Aces and kings are tripling here, I think.
So
Ace
as long as he
queen
hasn't,
maybe checks back. King queen probably checks back. But then again, if we lead here, then aces and kings also don't fold. Oh, I don't know. It's such a weird spot we shouldn't be in.
I would jam.
Uh,
If I was doing this now, I would jam or
but
bet
what
small.
what bluffs are we repping there though? King ten,
Uh,
king ten suited, I guess. Without
yeah, so
without
I'd have
every
to have
king,
a backdoor flush, wouldn't
yeah,
I?
we'd
To
have
yeah,
king ten suited of like the flops suited or the flops.
diamonds,
Maybe
hearts, or spades, isn't it?
maybe like ace ten suited too might play this way. Some of our bluffs: ace ten
Ace
suited, king
king,
ten
ace
suited.
king of diamonds, ace king of
No, because
hearts, ace king of spades.
we four bet them pre,
Oh
haven't we?
yeah, yeah, we would. Oh, we would, yeah. But I'm wondering if he thinks because a lot of people don't in this pool, do they?
No,
So
but
I'm just
I'm
wondering if I
trying to
would,
think.
yeah, I would always do it. But I'm wondering if how he perceives my range, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mm. I, I, I. The only thing I know I should did right in this hand was put away my laptop after
Fair enough. I honestly
it.
don't know what I'd do here. I suspect I'd go for a check raise. I think that I'd probably
Yeah,
end up falling on go for a check raise. I expect this player to check back a lot, but I think
yeah,
check raise is what's going to get us the money in. I don't want to jam here. It doesn't make sense.
yeah.
So I'm going to go for a check raise. And if he checks back king queen or ace queen, then never mind. But
Take,
I think aces
t-
and kings are going to still
take
want to
the money
value
and
bet
run.
there because
Yeah,
aces and kings are going to want to like bet and get value from queen x still.
yeah. They
So
wouldn't put us
yeah,
on a jack, would they? Yeah, yeah.
so we do check. Villain checks back sadly,
And he had ace queen, I think, if I
and
remember
yeah,
right.
that's
Yeah,
like one of the few hands he's probably is going to check back. So against that hand, maybe we could have done something different. But
that was
overall,
the bottom of his range, wasn't it?
yeah.
Do you think? Value wise.
So why did this hand make you shut the laptop down? Because apart from the turn, which was, in my opinion,
Oh,
probably a losing call, and no, probably
I
sorry,
just
flop.
knew one.
Yeah, true. Flop and turn were probably both losing calls, I imagine.
No,
But
what I did, if I remember right, I didn't shut it down straight after this hand, but I marked it for review. And I think this was the ones at the top are always the last ones I marked for review. And I watched the hand back, if you like. So I was only playing one table at the time because the other table went it went to heads up, I think, and I just shut it down. Um, and I knew I thought, oh God, that's good. I could just play one table now, and I should be able to concentrate on one table. And then after this hand happened, because I was sort of playing in the background, you can replay it in Poker Tracker. I just
yep,
did that, and as I was watching it back, I was like, I, I could tell I couldn't even remember, even though I'd only played it like 2 minutes ago. I'd forgotten what happened, or maybe I just didn't register what happened at the time. I didn't. I just wasn't. I knew I wasn't thinking about what was going on. My mind was well and truly elsewhere, even though I only had one table on, and I
yeah,
was like, "This is a waste of time. I shouldn't be doing this."
fair enough.
And I think I went to sleep.
Right. Well, I'm going to look at this one in the hand replayer because I said that I think flop probably is a
Mm.
fold, but let's just double check. And I said I think turn is definitely a fold, but maybe it isn't too. I mean, I don't honestly care that much about what if if it's saying you should have done something different. Like I say,
It's
I
just
think like
nice to see.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just nice
nice
to
to
see like
see
right,
what.
okay, how much EV is this winning or losing, and then we
Yeah,
can have a quick look at villain's range and see if we agree that villain's range is similar to theory, which most of the time it's not going to be. Oh, look at that. You got 6. So
No way.
literally, pre-flop's the only place where you didn't get a tick. So fucking shut your big fat gob, Reg. Um, yeah,
What was
it,
the
oh, it's
mistake
mixing between
pre-flop?
4-bet and call pre. It's mixing it like it wants you to 4-bet more than it wants you to call.
Yeah.
But we're not folding.
Yeah.
Uh, Flop, check. See, now this is where I think it does switch into fold mode because calling here is only worth like a tenth of a big blind.
Yeah.
And that's assuming villain is c betting. Let's have a look what hand is meant to be c betting. On this flop, Button's betting range for half pot is meant to contain
Oh, tens is in
these
there.
hands here. So do we think villain is c betting? Is ace jack off here? Do we think he's c betting ace king off? Maybe ace king off is. Do we think they're c betting king nine suited? Probably not. Do we think they're c betting king jack, king 10? So I think if we just take out even a few of these bluffs, like these 7-6s and things that they're meant to do a tiny bit of the time, if we go back to this, we're only making 1/10 of a big blind by calling. So like it doesn't need him to have missed one or two of these bluffs for that to then become a losing call. We also play in a higher rake environment than NL50.
Yeah.
So that's why I think we should probably fold this hand because it's such a it's just so it's barely breaking even an
Yeah.
NL50 rake structure against a range that has like these some of these hands in it, and it also playing against a range that
Mm.
three bets way more pre-flop than
Yeah.
pre-flop. He's meant to have all of that at his 3-bet range. And let's face it,
Wow.
this is not the
Yeah.
environment you're playing in. So pre-flop,
No.
he doesn't have a lot of the
I
hands
don't
that
think
he's
he
meant
has
to
got all.
have.
Yeah.
Post-flop, he doesn't
Yeah.
have a lot of the hands he's meant to have. Um, so versus this size, as I say,
Queen. Ace queen's there.
he's
Yeah.
meant to be like range betting his ace threes with backdoors. Um, he's
Yes.
not and his ace fives with backdoors, his ace sixes. He's meant to be three betting. It's just not. This isn't happening. He's maybe
I
finding these
don't think
some of
he
the
would three
time,
bet them
but
against me
not
now.
all of the time. He's
Yeah.
certainly not. He's not c betting them at like 40% frequency. So there's just so many of the
No.
bluffs that just aren't there, which I think is just what pushes this into a fold for me. But we called, turn check. He bets again, and now this is where I thought we're definitely folding, but actually now folding would just lose too much. It's clearly got. I have to be wrong here because calling here is now making 5.5 big blinds, so I'm clearly wrong. So what's it but saying his range looks like?
Because he's got the ace sevens and everything, hasn't he?
Well, let's see what he's meant to be betting. Cut
Oh.
off. What he bet half pot again on the turn, didn't he? So his range
Yeah.
for betting half pot on the turn
He
looks
is
like.
a bit.
Oops. Sorry, I'm being a moron here.
The diamonds in it. He's betting, I reckon.
His turn. It's still meant to have ace jack off here at some frequency. I mean,
He's jack off.
seems a bit ambitious to me. But in terms
Yeah.
of his bluffs,
But that's
um,
beating me.
he's still doing it. It's still blasting away with the like
Is it
ace eight
just
of
diamonds
spades.
though?
No,
Oh,
no,
oh,
no.
really? Oh no.
Ace eight of
Oh my god.
spades, ace eight of heart. All his ace eights are just blasting. All his ace sevens are still just blasting. So again, I don't know how much it's
Perfect
going to
call
affect
by
the
me. Yeah.
EV. If we only like isolate his value hands here,
Mm.
um, so when he's got full houses, when he's got trips, he's got the over pair, when he's got top pair. All of a sudden, a lot of those hands disappear, don't they? That he's still supposed to have.
Yeah.
And I think this is way more likely to be what his range looks like. And then maybe flush draws. So where are we at with flush draws here? Flush draw nuts and flush draws. So he's
Well,
got
ace queen could be a flush draw. Yeah.
so
Flipping
like
neck.
these are like, in my opinion, the only bluffs he has. So I don't know how much this brings this down because I don't think we have a call here that makes 5.58 big blinds against
No.
our population, but it's still
Right.
clearly a plus EV call.
Yeah.
And on river you play it fine, it checks. and I imagine it would be going for a check raise. So don't beat yourself up too much about that one, because
Yeah,
clearly GTO likes it. I like it less than GTO does because I
yeah.
don't think your average 10-0 villains,
I think
ranging
I
his,
like it less than you.
constructing his ranges like GTO.
Yeah, yeah,
But I mean, I was disappointed with his turn call. I thought that was quite bad. But I think even if we take out a lot of the bluffs, it's still clearly a
yeah,
reasonable
yeah.
call because, as I know, GTO is still betting its Jack X on the turn. And again, I'm not convinced the micro six population are.
No.
Anyway, on to the next one. Right, okay. Why?
Right. Right. This is not long before this hand, but uh, I think the big blind here was quite loose, if I remember right. And I, be- I would be opening 8, 7 and a half a lot there. Would It's only 1 pip down, depending on the table, of course. And I think my intention was, or my expectation was, not my intention, that because I'm raising under the gun, but it's under the gun five-handed, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And I expected the two players behind me to fold, and I could play against the button. Not the button, sorry. I could play against the
Yeah.
big blind quite a high percentage of the time. I
Because I'm a
think
fucking
that's
pedant, it's not under the gun 5-handed. It's just middle position, and I am a fucking pedant. I used to
that's
love
fine. Yeah,
when
yeah,
I
that's
when I
fine.
used to
Yeah,
watch Duesenberg stream on a Monday night. If ever he got terminology wrong, I used to fucking love pulling him up on it, and it used to trigger him. So no, it's just middle position. It's not under the gun. It's middle position. We've got these two players behind us who you say you think might just fold. This
yeah,
guy
I think
might.
so.
He's only calling two bets a little bit. This guy
Maybe less so with him.
pre-flop.
I was
He's
expecting him
not.
to
It's
fold.
just like he's calling two bets significant amount of time. He's also
Okay.
three betting
And
from
he's
the
on the
button.
button, I suppose.
Well, not three betting from the button. Yeah, three betting from the button. 13% overall. I don't think we can expect to get through these two, to be
Okay.
honest. I hear what you're saying. It's only 1 pip down from 8-7, but
You open 8, 7 or no?
do I? It depends. Um, I wouldn't do it if I had people behind me. If I had like at least two players behind me who I thought three bet reasonable ranges, I wouldn't open it. But yeah,
No.
it's a pretty one, isn't it? So yeah, if this was seven
And you can get,
six,
and if you get three bet, it's quite easy to get away from it with a hand like that, I think.
well, no, here's the thing: when we get three bet with hands like 8-7 and 6-7, we're supposed to defend more because what
Because
GTO does,
got a rate.
it
Yeah, yeah.
it, it, it basically defends the bottom of its range. It's like lowest. It's not. No, that's not true. It's lowest. If GTO only opens something at a low frequency, it very rarely folds it to a three bet.
Yeah.
So if we get, for example, here, um,
Because you can hit the board when your range doesn't hit the board, isn't
yeah.
it?
So we have say
Yeah.
7-6 suited here. It's a low frequency open from hijack. Your 8-6 isn't there. 8-7 is not even there, for example. So
Oh
this is the
God, Lord.
position we're
Here
in.
we go.
Hang on. Sorry. Yeah, we're in the hijack here. Like your 8-6 isn't there. 8-7's barely there. But when eight
Okay.
seven does decide to open, I'd be surprised if it's folding it to a three bet. So back to the hijack. 8-7, yeah, it's just pure calling it. So even though it's a low
Wow.
frequency open, so all these low frequency opens that it doesn't always open, when it does open them, it normally defends them. And the
It's
ones
quite
that are a bit
sticky.
higher
Yeah.
frequency opens, it doesn't
Yeah,
defend them
yeah.
as often. Like Ace
Yeah.
Nine, sorry, like I don't know, like Ace Five is a bit of a higher frequency open, but it's got some fold in there, for example.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these other hands that are just better, King Jack off, better hand than 8-7 in like raw equity, Ace Jack off, they're all folding. But then they're all like these are all pure opens and they're folding. All the stuff in blue, they're all pure opens almost, but they're all folding pure. Whereas 8-7 suit almost never opens, but when it does, it's like, well, fuck you, I'm defending you now.
Okay.
So it's just what it does. So that the lower frequency open, the more likely you should be to defend it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that works. I'm not going to pretend I understand why, but I just know that's how it works. So yeah, I don't like the open to be honest, but we've done it now. Okay, we've been three bet.
That's better in a way. Yeah.
And Yeah, if this was 8-7
It's a small
suited,
raise.
if
Yeah.
this is 8-7 suited, we're clearly supposed to defend this because we just looked at that. And let's just make
And he
sure we've.
hasn't raised very big. I'd expect him to make it more like 11 or 12.
Let me just see what
And he's
happens
just
here.
gone to 8.
Are we
Yeah.
still calling versus small blind with 8-7? Let's just double check. Yeah, we're still pure calling with it. Although, of course, he should make it far bigger.
Yeah.
But the problem I've got here is we've got a non-existent combo. If this is 8-7, I'd be like, fine. It's a low frequency open, and it's a pure defend, but it's not. We've got a hand that doesn't
One
exist.
gap. Yeah, yeah. In GTO. Yeah, yeah.
We're not even going to be able to put this into GTO because it's going to tell you off pre-flop because you've got a non-existent
Fair
combo
enough.
from the off. So when we're
Hmm.
opening a non-existent combo, then we
It
just
doesn't
shouldn't be
work. Yeah.
we shouldn't be defending it, but we have
Okay.
anyway. 9-6-9. Right, okay. I imagine we're going to face a C bet at a pretty damn high frequency here, and we don't. So when villain
Yes.
doesn't C bet, what are we thinking?
I think he's either trapping me or he's missed the flop and he wants to get to showdown cheap. He might have a hand like ace king, ace queen, king queen maybe. I'd imagine there's only one combo of sixes and one combo of nines. So I'm not really scared of them at the moment. Um,
And this guy probably isn't three betting sixes. He's
check it.
34.
Your HUD's different to mine, but
It's
is it
34 slash
5%?
19 with a 5%
Yeah,
three bet. So he might
yeah,
three
yeah,
bet sixes because who knows? Anything can happen. But it's very, very unlikely.
yeah,
On
yeah.
the big scheme of things, I think pocket sixes is very, very unlikely to be in range here for villain.
Like I'm gonna if I realized I was very tilted in this session, but if I was playing, I probably wouldn't have opened 8-6 to be honest. But I think if I was in this situation, I would bet small, and my small button is 35% pot.
Now, I think
Um,
I like small bet or check here. I think um,
yeah,
it's just a big shame if we check, and then a Broadway card comes on the turn, then he bets and it just gets messy. I agree
yeah,
with you. I think he's going to have a lot of ace king, ace queen, ace jack, king queen in range here.
mm,
That we can get value from, that we can deny equity to, all those things. So I don't mind a bet here.
kind of
But I
kind of
wouldn't
hope
hate it if
that
he
an ace.
checked back
Yeah,
either. Well, it's not too bad if he does call and then like a king or a queen comes.
just
He
gonna
doesn't
wait.
have as
Yeah,
much of them in range because I think he should be range betting his flop at a relatively high frequency. So we did bet. He calls. Turn jack. I'm not too worried about the jack because I think whereas ace king and maybe ace queen defend versus c bet here, I think
mm,
hands like ace jack and king jack maybe just fold. So I don't hit of all the Broadway cards to come, the jack is my favourite one of them. He
yep.
checks. I think we have a pretty clear check back now, though. I don't think there's any sense in betting any further.
Nope.
And we
I hope
don't.
I do that. Yeah.
River three. Villain checks.
Would pocket fives call me? Is he even going to have pocket
Would
fives?
it? Well, would Ace High call you too? Is that
Don't think so.
basically is our hand too thin to value bet? That's the question.
I think it is because I would imagine if he's somehow got over pairs to my six, they're not going to fold. I don't think because I checked the jack. So say I don't know if he can have eights, tens, things like that. Maybe even aces and kings. I would have thought he would bet them though. Um, I can't imagine. I don't think he would call me with ace king, which, as I see it, is the next pip down in his range from my hand. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he would call me with that.
I
Yeah.
think the question to ask ourselves here is: does betting have an IDV than check? Because check, we clearly win a lot of chips on check.
Yeah.
We probably win this pot on if we check now and just take it to showdown. I imagine we win this pot what 70% of the time, 75% of the time.
Yeah.
So like check's probably worth in the region of 20 bigs. So just
Yep.
betting make more than 20 bigs. I doubt it does. Because I think he just folds a lot. And when he does call, we just lose a fair bit. So I actually think checking's better than betting here. And I would just check back. If we do, and he Okay. And he hates money, so fair play.
I don't know why.
But
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was quite surprised. I
I don't
thought he might
hate
have had
I
tens
don't
though.
I
Yeah,
don't hate his flop check. Um, Depending on
they
what
should
his
have check raised me,
intentions
right?
are, because it's nice to have some strong hands in our flop checking range. But after you check back, so after you bet small flop and check back this turn, I think he has to value bet the river because you're not checking back a better hand than aces on the turn. You know, you're just not
Do
doing
you
it.
think he thought he was trying to bluff catch? Do you think he thought I was going to bet?
I think he's 34/19 who's playing a short stack and doesn't have a clue what he's doing. And
Okay,
who
cool.
knows what's motivating him.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's a bit weird though that he's
I
got aces
imagine he's just scared of the
and
nine,
he.
but he's scared of the nine, but he's not going to fold if you go all in. So it's like one of these players that just never bets.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at his post-up stats. He's really passive. He never
Mm,
bets and never folds. And I have that quite often going through my head in these games. Just be careful to not value on yourself against these players because they check
yeah,
way too many hands that should bet, and then they never
yeah,
fold them. So quite often you'll end up value owning yourself against them.
yeah,
You'll turn their if you like value bet too thinly, or if you bluff too much versus their cap ranges,
mm,
you end up turning their like weakness into a strength. um,
yeah,
so I think you just need to be careful against these players, but maybe against them you can also just have some really small bets. This player is not going to exploit us. You know, if he's playing aces this way, he's probably playing ace king this way, probably playing ace queen this way, etc.
yeah,
And just three bet against these players on the river here. I think we can just go hyper exploit and just bet like 3 big blinds on the river, just like force calls from ace king, force calls from ace
yeah,
queen. He's never going to check raise us, and if he does, we don't care. We just fold because he's so pathetic.
yeah,
So I actually think as like a really like nice exploit is we can just bet tiny on these rivers and
yeah,
just not we just bet like 10%, 15%,
mm,
20%,
yeah,
and just force them to be curious with the hands that we are losing to, with the hands that we're beating. In this instance, we would have absolutely binned ourselves because he would have called or raised with aces. But
mm.
a lot of the time, he's not going to
It's
have aces.
weird though,
He's
isn't
going
it,
to
that you
have
turned up with
ace
that hand?
king a
Yeah,
lot of the time. And when you bet
yeah,
three blinds on this river, ace king's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to look. I'm going to see what's going on here. I'm curious. So maybe
mm-hmm,
we can get a maybe if this guy is checking hands like aces, then it takes a lot of the value away from checking for us. You know, if he's got
yeah, yeah,
aces, kings, and queens in his range, then we don't win anywhere near as often on a check. So then maybe that makes maybe that narrows the gap in EV between bet and check. Maybe
yeah, yeah,
by just putting some 10%ers in, and yeah, still losing to aces, but then getting value from things like ace king.
yeah. I'm with
Maybe
you.
next hand king jack open call fold. You've done a good flop.
Yeah.
Away you go.
Slam dead bet, small. Um, quarter or a third, but it's a third on my betting on mine. So I would be very surprised if I did anything than bet a third pot.
Okie dokie. Is it a slam dunk bet? What if villain's really aggro?
You mean should I let him bet bigger than a third?
Well, I don't know. I just think,
Well,
um,
if he's
like,
really aggro and he raises me, that's quite good, isn't it? But do you mean
I just
if
think
he
in
raises
general,
me?
we've got this
Yeah,
player who's playing the button. It's the same hand from earlier, and I've seen that he likes to do a lot of cold calling. That's what
yeah.
we noticed from hand one. He's got like a pretty wide cold calling range on the button 28%, 27% from the cutoff. So he's reaching this flop with some pretty bad hands, like 6-5 suited, like 7-6 suited. Lots of
Hmm.
hands that probably shouldn't be in there. Let's see if it on my notes it says the
You
types of
think
hands
I
he's
should check
calling with.
raise him? Is it?
So he's calling like for example, look at his calling range from the blinds. Now don't get me wrong, that isn't. Oh, I've actually got a note on this guy, my own personal note. Flat ace queen up from the big blind, then donk large on queen XX, which isn't relevant to this spot. But the point I'm trying to make is he has a wide calling range. So he has it's
Yeah,
like a lot of hands that just aren't going to be able to continue here if we see bet. But how does he play versus check? And I don't know. So let's see. He bets 44% of the time over
which
this
is a lot.
sample when we check. So I'm thinking against this player type, who we know has got a wide range for calling pre-flop. So therefore,
Check for it.
he's going to like probably have to overfold versus C bets. But when check two, he likes betting. I'm wondering if against this player specifically, this is a easy C
Check
bet.
raise. Yeah,
Maybe it's a check raise, maybe it's a check call, because I wouldn't want to check call him all three streets because on river he's got when he bets the river, he's won 92% of the time. So maybe by the river he's honest, but before the river he's a bit cheeky. Who knows? I
yeah,
wouldn't mind trying to check raise here personally against this player type because too often we're not gonna have trips. Too often here we're gonna have pocket sevens, we're gonna have pocket eights, we're gonna have pocket nines, we're gonna have
yeah.
queen ten of clubs, etc. Things like that 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 don't really want to see bet very often. And against this player, if he's attacking checks as often as we think he is, then we know we're just going to be doing a lot of checking to him and check folding. So when we do have a strong hand, maybe we just put that in a checking range too. What I guess what I'm essentially saying is against this player who's doing a lot of flatting from the button and then a lot of stabbing versus miss C bets, I think I might just
Mhm.
have a overall strategy of range check to him.
How often does he fold to a C bet?
He's
Because I
folded
can't
to
see.
C bet 56%.
Oh, so more than half. Wow.
Now let's see in position here how that stacks up. On the
Yeah, 'cause
flop, oops, hang
I
on,
would have
sorry.
had that stat on my thing. Yeah.
C-bet, call C-bet in position 50, so he's check folding more than he's calling a little bit more in position. But
Yeah.
I think he's just going to try and make life difficult for us on flops. I actually like
Okay.
against this player type,
You like
who's
checking?
quite call happy pre-flop, so he's got a wide range on the button when he calls, and he's also got a wide enough range for stabbing flops versus miss C-bets. I actually
Mm.
like just having a range check policy to this guy, and then building lots of check raises in there, of which this would definitely be one of them. So I would go for a check raise personally. Um, but you went for the C bet. He calls. Turn 7. So as played, what now?
Bigger size. I'm gonna bet again. And I would bet either 3/4 or a pot. I'd like to bet a pot, I think, but those are the two buttons I've got. One of those I would bet. I kind of, if he calls, hoping that the river is not a spade. But worry about that on the river. I would, but I got to size it up now. Third of the pot is too small. Half pot's too small. So either 3/4 or a pot. I think.
And
Um,
what range of hands are you using that size with?
I would do that with my nut flushes, probably all my other flushes as well. I would be doing that with all my jacks. Um, we had this conversation last time, and I think prior to last week, I would have been putting aces in there, but I think aces would be a check for me now. But maybe not here because it's a flush draw as well. Um, I think I'd put aces in. That would be the worst hand value wise, and my bluffs would be like say for I'm trying to think, would I have a hand like 8, 9 of clubs? I don't know. I don't think like if I had under the middle position
Well,
raise, like say if I had like nine,
you had
10 of
8 6 to
clubs
clubs at this table last time, so yes, you would have
earlier,
that.
yeah. So I would have on this session, yeah, yeah. And say if I had like 9, 10 of clubs, I think that would be in there. Because now I've got a gut shot, but those would be my bluffs. Um, I think I would have aces in there as well, and maybe kings. Um, I'm trying to think if they have a spade, would that make a difference? But no, I think I just have all my aces, all my kings, jacks, and the draws.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'd play this turn to be honest against this player. I genuinely don't know. I don't think I'd like big bet.
You don't like it.
I don't think so, no. Because, like, yeah, when we've got this exact hand, I love big bet. But I don't want to pot aces here. I don't want to pot kings. Because he does fold on the flops. You know, he's not like one. He's not a massive station. And he's
He's
coming
quite
from a wide
honest on the
range
river,
pre.
though. Yeah, but you
Um,
know, say for example, you had aces,
yeah,
and um, it was a brick on the river, and you checked because he's got a 92%. Um,
one river when bet.
yeah.
Yeah,
Does that
sorry, one
does
showdown
that
when bet.
mean
Sorry.
yeah? Does that mean that he's not going to put you in a tough spot very often? Or I suppose
It means we just overfold, enormously overfold to him.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it does mean that. It means we enormously overfold. I just think that when we bet big on it, we bet the flop small, and I think usually we should be betting the turns quite big when we're following through. But I don't know. It just feels like we're going to be
This is
building too
a
much of a
big
big pot. We pot it here, we get to the river, there's going to be 30 bigs in, 33 bigs in the pot, and often at times we're not going to have a good hand. We're not going to have a very strong hand. So I think again, I think I just bet smaller here, allow him to continue calling. I think if we bet big, when he's got pocket sixes, when he's got pocket threes and things like that, they
fold.
just fold too often, and I think we end up just like isolating ourselves against too many strong hands. When we bet big on this turn, he only continues with like flush draws and
Mhm.
hands that are better than pocket aces quite often. When we pot the turn, I think like pocket nines just probably folds, even though it maybe shouldn't. I think it probably does. Pocket eights, pocket sixes, pocket fours. I think jack X continues, flush draws continues, and full houses continue. I think we end up isolating ourselves against too much of a narrow range, even against somebody who's got quite a wide base to call from pre. So I don't like
Yeah.
the idea of like blasting this turn. I do with this specific hand. I like the idea of it, but with
Right. Can
aces,
I ask
kings,
one more
etc.
question?
Yes, of course you
Yeah.
can.
If I do blast, or not blast, but I think I bet either three quarters of a pot or a pot. And my thought process was, if a spade comes, I'm going to check, and if he bets big, I'm going to fold. What
Mm-hmm.
would say, for example, um you did bet here.
Yeah.
What would your plan be? Whether you bet whatever size you chose, big or medium, small. What would your plan be for a spade on the river?
Um,
Would you be folding to any bet, or would you just shut down?
I will block
You block bet,
because we can
and
still
then if
get
he
called.
raises you,
Well,
yeah,
but here's a problem. You know, if a spade comes in the river, we check. He might then incorrectly value bet Jack X, and then we incorrectly fold. Because why can't he have? He's got a wide calling range. Pre, why can't he have Jack nine suited, Jack 10 suited, Jack 8 suited, things like that? That when he
okay,
gets
yeah,
to the
yeah.
river after calling twice, he now just
Mm,
thinks I've got the best hand. Because what the 92% won at showdown when called means, he just doesn't bluff very often. But he might value bet a worse Jack. He might just put us on aces, kings, queens, etc., and
yeah,
try and
yeah.
value bet a Jack.
That's okay.
So
Yeah, yeah.
I
No
would
worries.
probably just block bet.
Okay, I don't use that block bet at all. I need to start getting thinking about that. Yeah, yeah,
Because I wouldn't want to check fold because there's a possibility we beat value still. So he
yeah, yeah.
does
That was
call.
my thoughts. Yeah,
River nine. So yeah, on this exact kind of the river nine's really fucking ugly because now his Jack nine improves too.
yeah.
Um, I would genuinely just block like quarter pot here and not expect to be raised unless he just has a better hand.
Okay, yeah. I don't do that at all, and I think I should
Yeah.
because I made a I'm almost certain this is what happened, unless I'm thinking of the wrong hand. I'm almost certain I made a decision. If he, I'm going to check, and if he bets pot or more, or three quarters pot or more, I'm folding. And if it's like half pot or less, I'm going to call. That was my plan.
Yeah.
And let's see what he does. Because I check
Because he can have flushes here for certain. Again, going back to his
all
wide
day long.
pre-flop,
Yeah, yeah,
he's
all
peeling
day long.
28% or whatever it was of hands pre-flop. He's got all kinds. He's got 4-3 suited in range here, probably
Yeah.
8-7 suited. He's got all kinds of suited hands in range, but he's also got some jack X that we're ahead of,
Ah.
which is why I would prefer block here. I'd just be like, right, okay, just bet like six bigs and fold to a raise and not really care. We check. He bets half pot, and I'm guessing you're going to call.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, and I lose, I think. I just call.
And he had a
Yeah.
flush, yeah. Um,
Yeah. I wasn't my question about that hand is quite interesting that you would have bet smaller on the turn. Um my question was because I had that plan about the river before I'd even got there. And I think he bet like just over half pot. I was like, oh bloody hell. Sounds off. But I never even considered a blocker bet. And I think if I could have saved myself some money there, couldn't I? If I'd have just bet like a quarter, I don't. Oh, but he's probably going to raise me, but then I just fold, don't I? Do you think he
uh,
would raise me with? I know it's a paired board, but I'd imagine he raises me when I bet small. He's going to see through it.
uh, he's only raised the river once in 22 opportunities.
Yeah, so maybe
So
not
maybe
then.
not. Maybe he just calls because the board's paired.
Yeah,
He should raise,
but
I think, versus
yeah, yeah,
block. He should raise fold against block. He should raise. So we block. Say we bet 7.5 on the river. He can probably raise to like 28, 30 blinds, something like that, and fold to a shove because we never shove worse.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I don't think I played it that terrible actually,
no, I
but
don't think so.
I didn't
But I think
like it at the
block.
time.
I
I
think
didn't
block
like it
river's better.
because I felt like when I was calling that bet, I felt like I was going to lose a high percentage of the time, but it was only half pot-ish, wasn't it? So I was kind of getting, I don't know, 3-1 or whatever it is. And I just thought, well, he could have a jack. He could have missed his, I don't know if he's missed a straight or something. I don't know. But but yeah, yeah, never mind.
That's why this stat is such a lovely stat to have
The 92%, yeah, yeah, I like it.
because
I got to get
you
better.
just know that if someone's
Yeah.
got a 92% won after being called betting river, you just know you can like make some extremely outrageous um,
Olds.
adjustments to them. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean I'd be very confident block folding against this guy. Very very confident it was the best line.
yeah.
I'd be quite confident that check folding was a good line too.
Even if he's got somehow got king jack, he's just going to call, isn't he?
Yeah, but
You would think.
if he's got the same hand with chop, but he's crucially when he's got 10 jack, jack eight suited things like that, he's just going to call two, so he's never going
Yeah.
to bluff raises. Whereas if we
No.
check, he might bet half pot with a worse jack, or he might bet three
Yeah.
quarters pot. And your plan was to fold to 3/4 pot, he might bet 3/4 pot with a worse jack, thinking he's value betting, and then he ends up bluffing us.
Hmm.
Next one is three
Oh,
suited,
this is interesting.
limp. I saw
Right.
three bet, fold. Oh, right, okay.
Now this was
Um,
it. I was considering folding when when he three bet me. I was like, oh, do I really care about these 4.5 blinds? And then when this guy came in, I was like, oh, hang on. So there's 35 in there now, and I've got to call what 10.5, is it? Um, so I decided to call. Um, now should I ever consider four betting here? I
we
because
should
I
always
think
we should always consider things. It wouldn't be top of
yeah,
my
yeah,
list. It wouldn't be top
yeah,
of
but
my list of things to do, but we should always consider them. I guess. My
how
take
wide?
on this situation, fella, is that we've ISO to 4.5x, and someone's three bet, and I think ranges for three betting in this spot after the ISO of 4.5. If this was a button open and he'd just three bet, I think we've got a few options on the table because I think his range for just three betting versus a 2.5x open is significantly wider. Excuse me, by the way.
Oh yeah, my wage. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. I'm with
significantly
you.
wider than a range for now three betting versus a 4.5x open. I personally would just fold here.
Okay. Yeah, I was
But
good.
I understand
Yeah.
why you come along because the 38 eights come along too. But you're in a ridiculously high rake environment. Yeah, we only need 23% equity to continue. So we're getting a relatively good price on our money. But I think Villan's range here is just going to be super, super tight. Um,
Villain one.
Villan won, yeah.
Okay.
And
I was
yes.
gonna fold until this other guy came along. I remember. I was like, oh well, he's got me. But then I decided to call.
Well, now it's good. At least life's easy now. Bet, fold, do what you want,
I jammed.
call, or
I just jammed.
yeah.
I went all in. Did you hate it or do you like it or
I mean, it can't be terrible. It's impossible that it's terrible. We have a pair and an up flush draw. It's a three bet pot. It cannot be minus EV to jam here. Just zero. There's
okay?
no way
That's
it's
cool.
minus EV.
This was my yeah. This was my
Is it
question.
higher EV than call? That's the question.
Well, if this, I'm expecting him to have a lot of ace king, ace queen. Um,
So why are you wanting to jam then?
because if he's got that, I've got 12 outs against those hands at the moment over two streets.
Yep.
Um, and he might not have that. He might have. I'm trying to think. I was trying to think. Would he have any folds? Could he have king, queen of hearts, things like that?
Why do you want him to
But
fold
if
King Queen of Hearts? He's drawing dead.
um, no, but he might call with queen, king, queen of hearts.
Wow, that
But
was a big crap of thunder.
do you not think he would call with king, queen of hearts?
Maybe, but he might just keep betting them on the turn too. I wouldn't.
Okay, yeah,
My,
yeah,
my
okay,
issue here with raise is that Ace King um, is probably going to keep betting the turn. So we just get to call against Ace King, call again, and then fold to a triple. Because if he goes like bet, bet, shove here, and we don't make a flush, unless he's got this King Queen or King Jack of Hearts, we just don't have the best hand. Uh, I don't think he's bluffing
no,
here. I think with the presence of the fish in the pot, I don't think he's got a hand like kings or queens or jacks here. I think he's just going to be very, very dense in ace highs, like ace queen, ace king that aren't folding.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
okay,
I think calling here is probably better because if it comes to heart on the river or on the turn, and he has got a hand like ace king or ace queen, he's probably not going to get away from his hand.
no, I
You
didn't
know,
know he's going to call at least one
so I don't
street,
think
isn't
we're
he?
going to like lose the ability to stack him on a heart. But when he has got ace king or ace queen, which I think he's going to have a lot, we can just call flop, call turn, and if he jams river, probably just fold. Or if we call turn here and he just jams turn. So if we call
Yeah,
flop here, he just jams the turn. We still probably have like a plus EV call. So I think here I'm just
okay,
keeping in whatever random. If he has got any random nonsense, which I don't think exists very much, he's made a big three bet pre versus an ISO, and he's C bet this flop. So I think he's like highly deficient in bluffs here. I think he's got almost none. So the very few bluffs he has got, I want to keep in. I don't want to jam. And then
okay.
turn. If I call, the turn's going to have 77 blinds in the pot. He's probably just going to jam, and at that point, I've got more of an awkward decision because
That's
by
what I
then,
was
I
thinking.
think
Yeah,
we've
he's got
already.
less than pot, hasn't he?
Yeah, but then we've probably still got 12 outs, I imagine.
Yeah,
We do
that's what I
go for
mean.
the jam.
He's
Yeah,
only got set. If I called, the pot
yeah,
would be what 76, and he'd only
yep.
have 71. But
Yeah, he need jump a
I might
pot.
be thinking like 2010 poker sort of thing. But I was just thinking I had more equity now than I would on the turn. But is that a bad way of thinking about it?
Well,
Because
here's the way I
I
think about it. Like I said, I don't think he's got bluffs here. And
okay.
the few bluffs he does have is going to be, like you said, going to be King Queen of Hearts, King Jack of Hearts, maybe Jack Ten of Hearts, Queen
And
Jack of
you
Hearts. It's
don't
going to
think
be
he'll
a very
barrel them?
small number of like two Broadway flush cards. That's
Yeah.
going to be it. And then maybe he's got stuff like King Queen of Clubs, King Jack of Clubs, Queen Jack of Clubs,
Oh
etc.
yeah, I'm with you.
So
Yeah,
maybe
sorry.
he's got them too.
Yeah,
So then so we just call here against that on the turn. If he goes all in, we're going to need 30 odd percent equity to call. So then it's just a simple maths problem. It's like, do we
yeah.
suck out on ace king and ace queen more than
We've got
30%?
12
You
outs.
know, we got
No,
12 outs. So we got like 24% equity and we're going to need 33. So therefore, does he then have enough bluffs in range to make it
no.
just about a break even call?
Maybe, but no, probably not. Then probably
It
don't have
depends.
any.
I think if the turn's a club, I think if he goes all in, I probably call because he might then just be emboldened to like jam his king jack of clubs, etc. If the turn's not a club, I suspect I'd probably fold because I don't think we get
Okay, yeah,
the.
you would have saved more money than me in this hand, Reg.
Because
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
don't
okay.
think there's any reason to. I'd rather bluff here with like queen jack of clubs than with this hand. Like you're jamming here, and I don't really know what purpose it serves apart
Oh, I
from
yeah,
it gets value from king queen suited, king jack suited, queen jack suited. But
which
maybe it
maybe
doesn't. Maybe they just say, you know what, I don't care, I'm out. I'm not calling it off with just a flush draw.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think this
I
was
don't like this jam. It's very
no.
old school, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's what I mean.
I've done
That's
this a
what I mean.
million times, and I'll do it again. It's very old school. I've got a top pair. I've got a nut flush draw. It can't be
Can't
terrible.
be
I'm
dead.
all in.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
so like this, without question, what you've done here isn't losing money, but I don't
No.
think it's the best line.
It's a kind of Doyle Brunson high stakes poker 10 years ago,
Yes.
isn't it? Yeah, yeah. I think
Um,
maybe I haven't. Yeah, I
look at where the
didn't like.
rake's gone here. Like we've jammed it in here. There's
You were right.
394
Yeah.
big blinds in the pot. The fucking rake is
You,
annihilating us.
no, you're right. I didn't even. I think I didn't think of that. Yeah, yeah.
So we got the
The
rake's an issue as well.
yeah, iPoker just made a load more money, didn't they? Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
and here's
I
you know,
wasn't.
yeah, I'm probably going
No, yeah.
broke there. I think, but maybe not. I don't know, but I don't like the jam. I think I'm definitely calling, then I'm making a decision on the turn. Right, fella, do you have more time?
I could do a short video if you want to
If,
do
if,
another one.
if you don't want to, we can just carry on this one. I just need to make a phone call. That's all. So I'm going to
We've got
pause now anyway.
yeah,
But
pause.
what time
Yeah.
can you go? It's 11:05.
So,
What time can you go till?
so now I think I could go until about 20 to 12.
Um,
Let me check. Yeah, I need to be done about quarter to 12.
right. Are you free at any other point during the week?
Yeah, yeah, I can do probably Wednesday morning.
Right. Well, we'll do a Wednesday morning too. I think
Wicked.
that's okay with you.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine, mate.
Right.
That's fine.
Well, in that case, then we'll say Terrar on the video. Don't you go anywhere because we can organise
Oh,
stuff.
oh, hang on.
But
Yep.
we'll just do the rest of these hands that we haven't done. Just so that like, the next video has some continuity. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.
Nice one.